Okay, I'm going to try to answer some of the questions that you were asking about in terms of purpose and layout, etc. So we have your letter here. I'll save the changes, make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. Okay, so first things first, we need to go to the task. So what is it we're supposed to be doing? Who are we writing to? So we're writing a letter to referral to the neurosurgeon. So the purpose is to request MRI and advice regarding does your patient need surgery or not. So that's what you need to mention in your introduction. Now, purpose. Okay, here we go. So, quick, precise sense of what is asked. I want you to do X, Y, Z, right? Quickly, efficiently. So, you introduce the purpose early on and then expand on it, usually at the end before the closing, right? So, I'm writing to request that you do X, Y, Z because, and then you construct a logical flow of information, a narrative, and then at the bottom, in view of the above, I would appreciate it if you could do X, Y, Z. Again, and that's it. That's pretty straightforward. So let's have a look at your thing. Mr. Paulus, thank you for seeing Mr. Paulus, who has been displaying signs and symptoms suggestive of lower back pain of nervous origin. The reflexes and sensation of the right lower limb are not adequate for your further Right, so why do we have this here? This should be further on. All that we need here, why am I reading this? Right, so you could say, I am writing to request your assessment and advice concerning Mr. Paulus and a possible MRI scan. Do it like that, a single sentence, right? So the reader, you can see I'm writing to refer Mr. Paulus to you, whose signs and symptoms are suggestive of lower back. Well, it's not suggestive, is it? Because he does have back pain. So as a matter of fact, I want to take that out because it's not suggestive. He does have lower back pain. So we don't really need this for your further assessment and investigations, including an MRI. So let's go back to the thing again. Right, so you want an MRI and advice regarding the possibility of surgery. So that's what you need to include. I'm writing to request an MRI and advice on possible surgery for Mr. Paulus, who has lower back pain. Right? I'll even type it out. Request an MRI advice regarding surgery for Mr. Paulus, who has recently been experiencing lower back pain. Okay, right? Something such as that. That would do. We just correct that. So now your purpose is crystal clear. It's concise, right? Quick, precise, quick, efficient, right? That's what I mean by purpose. Immediate. I want you to do X, Y, Z. So instead of writing all this stuff we don't need, taking 2 sentences or so, not required. Just do a single sentence. Now what you've got to do now is tell me the narrative of how this came to be. Right? We want a logical chronology of information here. Right? So let's have a look. So what don't we need? So first time in June. Okay, we got that. So it came to you 3 times. Okay. So 3 separate visits. The first one, it came injured his back, lifting weights from the ground. Okay, blah, 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 blah. We don't need any of this. Don't need this for sex or drink. We don't need that at all. Don't need that either. Well, maybe the contrast agent, yeah, because if he's having like an MRI, so, okay. But we don't really need any of this stuff. Okay. So just, he came complaining of a bad back. You investigated, and what did you do? You prescribed he take time off work and gave him some paracetamol or Panadine. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Visit 1. Initially, Mr. Pollis presented on, what was that date again? On the 21st, complaining of severe back pain lasting for 2 days, blah, blah, blah. Upon examination, I found this, for which I prescribed analgesia and time off work. And that's it. Good. Okay? So, on the 21st, is that the first occasion? Let me just check. Okay. So, on the 21st, Mr. Pollis had experienced. Why is it past perfect? So, he presented. So, on the 21st, Mr. Pollis presented complaining of, complaining of, a 2-day history of, what's happening here? I think you've used the Arabic version of Word, so everything is back to front. Okay. I'm going to do the history of extreme lower back pain. Yeah. While carrying a heavy object. Okay. We don't need to know it was 20 kilograms, it was 30 kilograms. We don't need that. Following that incident, he was not able to walk. Assistant took Panadine Forte for pain. The examination of him. Well, you can't have that possessive, can you, there? Let's have a look at the notes. What's it say? So, you examined him. Pain, extension. Okay. So, you prescribed some paracetamol and advised him to take time off work. Following that incident, he was not able to work. Did he take Panadine Forte for the pain? Did he self-medicate? Let's have a look. Did it say that? Yeah, he took 2 Panadine Forte and he put it 4 hours. We don't really need that. He came to see you, okay, and he said, I've had this pain, okay. Following that, he was not to assist and 40 for pain. However, the examination of him, upon examination, he demonstrated an improvement of his condition. Right. Well, improvement. So, how can he demonstrate an improvement of his condition? Because this is the first time he's come to see you. Yeah. So, right. There's no point in including that because it's confusing. It's confusing to the reader. Okay. So, how can he demonstrate an improvement of his condition when you haven't examined him yet? So how do you know that what his condition is before the examination? So how can it have improved? Okay. Accordingly, he was advised to have some days off from work, as before they were prescribed for him. Well, you prescribed it, so you can use active voice. However, right, so I would break this down, right? So have a clear separation of the chronology. So it's clear. This, right? Leave a space between your paragraphs. Okay. However, last week I will put the date. Mr. Pollis. I think that's only one S. Mr. Pollis presented with pain referred to a right thigh. How can pain refer? Referred? What? With pain? What? So presented complaining that his pain had transferred or had moved, or he now felt pain in his right thigh. Lateral calf and dorsum of foot. What foot? Is that the right foot? Fault review was arranged in 1 week. What did you do? Try and use the English version in the future, because this is a nuisance. All my keys are backwards now because yours goes from right to left, whereas mine goes from left to right. So, what did you do? So, as I said, a visit. What did you do? Objective. Okay, doesn't say what you did there. Okay, but still, review for 1 week. So, usually, for a visit, you have 3 components. What the patient presented with, what they said, what you found, what you did. And that's what you need for that. Okay, today his pain is more severe. Lost right knee reflex and lost lactic sensations, lower calf, and the plantar of foot. Okay. It is worth mentioning that as well. We don't usually use that. Now, I would have put this history, if you have to have a history, I would put it as paragraph 2. But most of this history is irrelevant. So, I wouldn't put that. We don't need that, really. We don't really need that at all. What the reader does need to note, and it is worth mentioning, many things are worth mentioning. What does that even mean? Just say, please, next time, use the right key, save it in the English version, because this is the Arabic keyboard, right? So, please, right, please note, Mr. Paulus has a history of developing an allergic reaction to a contrast agent. Why all this? Why not just say, is allergic to contrast agent? So, okay. And we don't need this at all. Pre-advising this comes from Mr. Paulus, okay, advice if you give your advice for him. So, that closing's not too bad, okay? The closing's not bad there. So, you need to work on the purpose, right? That's a little bit long. Make it clear. I want you to do X, Y, Z. And then make sure that you've got your time reference. Make sure you've got your reference in to times, dates, exactly. And that's not bad. Say we don't need all that. You can put this cautionary note before the closing. Or you could maybe, you could even put the please note, put it after this. As a matter of fact, that would, you could probably take it. Is this going to work? Ooh. Alright. So you could probably put this. It's not what. Well, I'm not going to bother because it's working right to left instead of left to right. So try and sort that out in the future. However, as I said, you could put that at the end there. Please note, Mr. Paulus has an allergy to a contrast agent which he discovered following a previous MRI. Okay, and that would be fine. So we've got a bit of grammar, not so much. This is a little better in terms of structure. That purpose needs some work. So you could probably scrape a B with that. So for a B, you need at least a 2 in purpose and a 5 for everything else. Anything less, and you're looking at C+. So you need at least a 2 and a 5. So this letter that you've sent me now is not bad. It's certainly an improvement on the previous one, or previous 2. It's like, as I said, when I was reading those, it was obvious to me that there was at least 2 separate writers there. I think the first 2 were pretty good, but the last 2, if they were yours, as I say, they were the logic, the structure. I can't really remember the comments that I made exactly, but were not very clear. So if you keep on writing like you have done here, and pay attention more to purpose and make sure that you've got the time markers and chronology and layout, I think you should be okay for a B. Okay?